Greetings, our lovelies, and thank you for stopping by the channel today. Yeah, I've been gone for a hot minute. Life, been busy with conventions, trying to write the 4th book of the Tale of Blade and Darkness series, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. So, to slowly get back into the swing of things, I figured I could just take some time to sit down and talk to you guys about some things that have changed, some things that I'm hoping to work for, and, you know, just kind of chillax. So let's get started. First and foremost, I have been now to 3 conventions with the GalaxyCon and the lovely Pop-Up Bookshop, and they have all been a resounding success. Raleigh was phenomenal. That was so much fun. Columbus was just another whole amazing experience. And then in Richmond, I ended up selling out entirely of the Serpent's Coils and the Hidden Temple and the Last Light. Wow. I don't think I would have done this without the amazing support of the Pop-Up Bookshop people and all of the authors that work alongside with it. But yeah, I can't wait for other ones. They have one that's coming up in Oklahoma City, but I'm not going to go to that one in person because I have an obligation already. But I am sending my books in, so if you are in the Oklahoma City area, please feel free to swing by the table and check us all out. I now have it set up to where you guys can order directly from me signed copies of my books, not just the Tale of Blade and Darkness, but also my first trilogy, the Lost Guardian trilogy. So you can just order it through there. I'll reach back out to you, make sure that everything's straight, and then I'll send it out to you. I also have commissions open right now for maps, so if you are an indie author or a tabletop player that needs a map, you can go ahead and reach me out through there. Enough with the shameless plugs, moving on to some other things. So one of the new things that I've implemented so far this year is a more technical way to sort of rate the books that I've been reading. I wanted a little bit more consistency because I am largely a vibe reader, and I will sometimes not like everything about a book, but there are certain things that I feel like I need to point out, but even though I still might give the book a lower rating, and that to me just didn't seem fair. So I wanted to have something that had more consistency and gave a book a more well-rounded overview. And so through serious searching, which is probably 5 minutes, I came across the CAWPILE Method. I'll go into what each of those letters means a little bit later. You have the 7 categories. You rate each of the category base from 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, depending on kind of how you do it. You add up the totals and then you divide it by 7 to give you the average. That average equals a point system, and that point system goes for stars. Sounds pretty easy to follow? Unfortunately, it's only for fiction. I haven't found anything for nonfiction. So if you have something that you use to rate your nonfiction, I would love to hear how you do it. For me, it's just largely vibes and boils down to, is the material easy for me to understand, and have you written it like a textbook or more or less like someone having a general conversation? That is very important to me. But anyway, on to breaking down the acronyms. C is of course for characters, and for me it largely boils down to likability. Do I like the characters? Do their motivations make sense? Are their personalities annoying? Are they just rage bait material? All of those I kind of look into and give my rating on. A is for atmosphere, or basically the world building, and this is the one where I am probably the most critical because I do love good world building. It's one of my favorite aspects of writing, and so it's probably the one thing that I nitpick at the most. However, if your world is superficial, doesn't seem like there's a lot of depth to it, or if it's just amazing, that will go into that. W is writing style, and this is also very important because while I may like the characters or the world, how they're being presented to me may be the problem. I may find the wordage dry or boring, or just, wow, I know what they're trying to do, but they're not executing it very well. And that's okay. There are going to be people who don't like my style. There's some people that can't stand Tolkien, and because he's very wordy in his descriptions, but yet he's one of my all-time favorite authors. Next up we have plot, and it basically boils down to the one question: does this plot make sense? Does it flow? technically I guess that's 2 questions. But that's what I ask myself when I'm reading a book. If the plot makes no sense of why the characters are doing what they're doing, and if the flow is kind of jumbled and all over the place, that's going to give you a lower rating. Sometimes I can push through. Like with the 9th house, it took me a couple of months to get into it because of the time jumping between past and present and future. And it took me a while to be able to trudge through that until things kind of leveled out. Once I got through all of that, it was much better, but in the CAWPILE rating, the plot would kind of have a little bit of a lower, or I would tack that on under writing style. Either or. Intrigue. Is it interesting? You'll be amazed at how many stories have really good plots, but are not very interesting. A lot of the problems that I've been running into with the fantasy genre, which is why I've kind of had to take a step back and take a break from it, is that these books are heavy enough to commit murder, yet there doesn't seem to be a lot going on. A lot of it is boring and monotonous, and like, we could probably cut a good chunk of this out because I don't feel like it's serving a purpose. Now again, these are all my opinions. You can completely disagree. My friend and neighbor absolutely has adored the Fourth Wing series. I read the first book, thought it was mediocre at best, and I couldn't finish Iron, the second one, whatever that one's called. And I have no intention of reading it going forward. So, but hey, one man's DNF is another person's all-time favorite. L stands for love. Initially it was for logic, but I felt that that had a better fit under plot of like, does this make sense? And so I went with love because that is more or less the relationships. How are the relationships? For me, I like good character relationships. Sometimes you could, if you have a weaker plot, but you have really good character relationships, then that will be a saving grace. Sometimes you can have a really good plot and really crappy characters. That's not going to do you very good. And the last one is enjoyment. Did I overall enjoy these books? So once I go through and I get all of these ratings and we get to our numbers, I mentioned before that there was like a point system, and each of those points correlates to a star. The only way that I will ever give a book 0 stars is if I do not finish it. And that means that I could not get past the first 5 chapters or first 100 pages. If I get to that point and I just want to chunk your wall of the book against the wall, I'm done. DNF'd, whatever. Sometimes I DNF books because of I'm not in the right headspace to be reading it, so I will refrain from giving them a rating until later on. I'll just abandon them for a moment and then try to come back later. But if it is a true DNF, then I give it 0 stars, and I really just don't talk about it at all because my reasons for not liking a book shouldn't really deter someone else from trying it, and I don't want to be that one that prevents someone from finding a book that they might enjoy just because I simply didn't. When you do all of the math, if it gets 0 to a 2.4, I give it a 1-star rating. 2 stars will be a 2.5 to a 4.9. 3 stars are 5.0 to a 6.9. A 4-star would be 7.0 to an 8.5. And a 5-star will be an 8.6 to a 10. Now, you'll probably notice that these numbers don't exactly balance out evenly, but it is also very, very rare for me to rate lower than 3 stars. It really, really generally is. Because if I finished a book, I feel like it's an obligatory... Words speak as an obligatory 3-star rating because I finished it, so therefore I enjoyed it enough to see it all the way through to the end. There is one exception though to where I was just trying to see if the book lived up to the promise of its premise, and it never did, and I was so mad by the end of it that I did give it a 1-star rating. One of the very few 1-star ratings that I publicly talked about because I was just so mad about it. I won't tell you what the book is because, again, I don't like to trash books on this channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not 100% infallible, and Jesus, I'm getting washed out by the light. Oh well, it's not 100% accurate. There is still a lot of like vibing that goes along with it, but I feel like this gives me a better consistency with my star rating. And when it boils down to me trying to pick the book of the month, if I have 2 5-star or 2 4-star ratings, then the one that has the higher point average will take the spot. And speaking of book of the month, I'm recording this in April, so I haven't quite finished it, but I do have 3 already. The first one is the Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 24, only because I was in such a reading funk. If not for manga, I would not have completed anything that month. February goes to Heavenly Tyrant. And for March is Villains Are Destined to Die, which is one of my all-time favorite manhwas, and I am just so happy to be getting it in the book format. I didn't realize it was in book format just yet. You know, there's a lot of things going on in my life, and sometimes it's hard to find these things. But anyways, I digress. Love the art, love the premise. It's one of the few like isekai ones that still use a lot of the game mechanics if they fall into like the dating sim scenario. Love it. I can't wait to read the rest of it. But anyways, that's pretty much all that I have for you guys right now. The title release for book 4 of the Tale of Blade and Darkness series will be revealed on April 25th. However, if you are a subscriber to my newsletter, you already know what it is. So, shh. Anyways, please be sure to follow me at all my socials listed down here below. You can find everything through my website. Be sure to sign up for my newsletter, not only to get things ahead of time to be extra special, but you also get to vote and stuff like what books I'm going to review on, what topics I'm going to discuss on the channel, and also a new feature called Indie Spotlight, where I interview up-and-coming indie authors about their book releases, when it's done, have you guys get some cool fan art for it, and things of that nature. Anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful time and enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you all later. Bye!